It's been exactly 1 year since Michael disappeared. 365 days with a hole in his heart. A year without a call, without a message, without a body. Not even a goodbye. He just didn't come home. His room is still the same, everything in its place, as if he's about to open the door, yawn, and ask for coffee. Mom still washed his sheets. Dad threw away all the newspapers with articles long ago, but he keeps one under glass in the garage. The article was nothing, just "Young man goes missing." There wasn't even a picture in it. Just a name. Mike Wilson. I don't know what's worse, losing someone forever, knowing they're dead, or living with the idea that they're out there somewhere. Just not with you. Just choosing to forget. I tried not to think about it. I worked at a car repair shop, came home tired, ate frozen dumplings and watched TV without sound. On weekends, I'd help my mom with the garden, fix the kettle, tighten screws that were already tight. Anything to avoid hearing the clock ticking in his room. To avoid thinking that it was there that he had taken off his last shirt. That's where he'd put the glass of water that still stood, half empty. For a year. And that's when Ellie showed up. Not like lightning, not like a storm. More like warm rain after a drought, quietly, unexpectedly, as if by chance. We met at a party. I didn't want to go at all. A friend called me, said, "You can't bury yourself alive all the time." I got there late, near the end. Music was playing, people were laughing, some were dancing, some were smoking on the porch. I went out too, just to get some air. And there she was. At the railing, in a black leather jacket and a glass of wine. Not pretending, not posing, not looking for company. Just staring out into the night. I said, "Great party, huh?" She grinned and replied, "I hate the noise, but I hate being alone on the weekend even more." And we got to talking. About books, about work, about favorite foods. She didn't say too much. But she didn't pull away. I remember thinking, she's relaxed. And that's rare. A week later, we met again. And then again. A month later, she was living with me. And it didn't seem strange. Mom was tense at first, she'd taken any news since then as a possible tragedy. But then Ellie started making apple pies. Dad tasted them in silence, but then he started bringing old tools out of the garage, in case Ellie wanted to build a shelf. She came into our house like she'd always been in it. And for the first time in a year, I started waking up not heavy. We laughed. We watched silly shows. She would turn on playlists and dance around the kitchen. She was easy. But not empty. Sometimes I caught myself thinking she was too understanding. Like she knows what I'm going through. Like she has the same hole inside her, just a different shape. One day we were cleaning out the closet and she found an old photo album. I almost yanked it out of her hands, pure instinct. But she'd already opened it. The page with Michael at graduation. I froze. She did, too. I said. "That's my brother. Michael. He disappeared a year ago." She didn't answer right away. She looked at the photo for a long time. Then quietly. "I'm sorry. I didn't know." I felt her fingers trembling. Not much. Almost imperceptible. But I noticed it. Because I'd been living in the midst of the trembling for a year. "It's okay," I said. "Nobody knows what happened. He just disappeared. Left the house and never came back. Phones off. The cameras didn't pick up anything. Car was left in the garage. Credit cards, untouched." She looked at me like she wanted to hug me but didn't dare. "I've lost someone, too," she whispered. "Not like that, maybe, but I understand." We didn't talk about it anymore. But something had changed. In her gaze, in her walk. It was as if a memory had surfaced in her, but she drowned it before I could ask. I thought, we all have our skeletons. I mean, we don't have to put everything out there at once. It's all about the real thing, right? I was wrong. Because when you love someone, you want to believe that everything between you is pure. And when you start to feel like someone next to you is hiding a part of themselves, you dismiss it at first. Then you start to notice. Then you doubt. And then one day, while sorting through an old box in the garage, I found a photograph that turned everything upside down. But then, that first winter with her, I thought, God, thank you for giving it to me. When I almost gave up, you gave me a chance to feel again. I just didn't know whose chance it really was. All I wanted to do that day was to clean up the garage. You know how it is when you pick up old boxes with all kinds of stuff in them, old wires, screws, empty paint cans, broken extension cords. I wasn't looking for anything specific. I was just looking for a distraction. Dad had just left. Mom was at a friend's house. Ellie was at the store. The house was quiet, as it rarely is. I dragged the dusty box into the light and started going through the contents. Most of it was junk. But at the very bottom was a yellow, slightly shabby envelope. It said, Summer 2021. That was the year before Michael went missing. I opened it, and inside were dozens of printed photos. The ones he developed himself when he was into film cameras. He and I took the film to be developed, but he never showed me the results. I'd forgotten all about it. And here I am, holding pictures that seem to have come to me from another time. Michael at the lake. Smiling. It's rare, to be honest. He rarely smiled in pictures. But in this one, he wasn't just cheerful. He was alive. And there was a girl next to him. I didn't pay much attention at first. A lot of pictures are just company. But then I saw that shot. Michael and her. He's hugging her from behind, his chin touching her shoulder. And she's laughing. That's the smile I know. It hurts. Goosebumps. Ellie. I couldn't believe it at first. It was like my heart had stopped. I held the photo closer to my eyes. I looked at it. Same curve of the lips. Same dimple on her cheek. Same eyes. It was her. Maybe she just looked so much alike. I had a thought. I went into the house, grabbed one of her recent photos, put it side by side. I compared the angle of her head, the shape of her ears, the mole on her right temple. Ellie. I sat down on the floor. The snapshot trembled in my fingers. My head buzzed. Why hadn't she ever told me? Why didn't she mention it? Didn't notice he was my brother? Or, noticed but kept silent? I turned the photograph over. On the back, in thin pencil. Lakewood. July 2021. Lakewood is a town in Colorado. I'd been there once when I was 10. Small, boring town. Out of the blue, and suddenly it pops up in my life. I dug further. Another photo. It's just Ellie. She's standing at a gas station, holding a plastic cup and looking at the camera. Michael probably took this picture. She looked different. More disheveled. Less put together. But it was her. No doubt about it. I didn't know what to do. Go back to the house and show her. Ask her head on. What if she said, yes, I was with him? What then? What is she doing in my life? Why did she come here? I put the photo in my pocket. I didn't say anything to her. I didn't say a word all day. Dinner was a blur. She talked about how the grandmother in the store argued with the cashier, how the cash register did not give a discount. I nodded and smiled. But inside, there was just one thing going on. Why are you here, Ellie? Why did you come to me? At night, I pulled out the photo again. I stared at it like I could pull answers out of her face. I remembered how she'd once told me she loved lakes. That she'd lived somewhere in Colorado when she was a kid. That she had a complicated relationship, but she doesn't like to talk about it. I didn't even think about it at the time. But now, it all fit. The next day, I tried a cautious probe. We were sitting on the couch, watching a TV show. I just casually dropped it in. Have you ever been to Lakewood? She blinked. Where? Lakewood, Colorado. It's a little town near Denver. Oh, no, I've never even heard of it. Why? Well, a coworker said it's a cool festival in the summer. Aha. No, I definitely haven't. And she turned her attention back to the screen. Like nothing had happened. And I sat there with a burning sensation in my chest. She lied. And she did it easily. Confident. Like she'd rehearsed it. I couldn't keep quiet anymore. The next day, I went to the station. I wanted to talk to the detective who was handling Michael's case. His name was James. He was the kind of guy you don't trust completely, but you can't avoid either. Knows too much. I found something, I said. He looked interested. Michael. Did he have a girlfriend? He did, he nodded. We couldn't find her. Name was Lena Wells. They dated for about 6 months. Then she disappeared 2 weeks before he went missing. I pulled up a photo. Is that her? He took it, squinted, nodded. Yeah. That's Lena. And this is Ellie. He looked at me. Slowly. As if he'd figured it out for me. Are you sure she's not the same woman? And that's when I realized I was living with a girl who didn't just know my brother. She loved him. Or something. And never told me. I came home, clenching my fist in my pocket. Ellie was asleep. And I looked at her and felt reality slipping away. She's not an accident. She's part of a story I never knew. Ever since I saw that photo, I couldn't look at her the same way. No matter what she said, no matter the tone of her jokes, everything was humming inside. It's like living with someone who has another life behind them, and all this time you didn't even know where her doors were. I tried to push the thoughts away. Told myself it could be a coincidence. That people have doppelgangers. That Lakewood wasn't the center of the universe and 2 lives could accidentally cross paths, but it was a lie. I knew. She knew. We both kept quiet. On the 3rd day, I couldn't take it anymore. We were sitting in the kitchen. She was making coffee, singing to herself. Hair in a bun, striped socks, she looked the same as ever. Calm, homely. My Ellie. But not anymore. I said. Listen. Have you ever heard the name Lena Wells? She froze. Just a little bit. Unnoticeable to someone who doesn't know where to look. But I already knew. No, she said. Who is it? I looked right into her. Eyes that had once seemed clear to me. Now they were wary. I just heard the name somewhere and it seemed familiar. Yeah. Well, no, I don't know. She continued stirring her coffee as if nothing had happened. That's when I realized she was lying to me. Straight up. To my face. And she does it so easily, like she's used to it. I didn't say another word. I just smiled and nodded. Inside, a volcano. I couldn't wait any longer. I found Michael's old papers. All that was left of him, folders, stickers, an old playlist, some notes. And there's a scan of the form. Emergency contact. Name's Lena Wells. Phone number's been erased. I checked the handwriting on the form against one of the cards Ellie gave me. It's identical. Damn it. It was identical. I didn't know where to start. I wasn't a detective. But I had the internet, I had Detective James, and I had an inner voice that yelled, "She's around for a reason." I went to the station again. James recognized me immediately. Without a word. "What now?" I silently handed over the photo. Then the second one. Then the form. "Are you sure?" I nodded. "That's her. Ellie is Lena." He looked at the pictures for a long time. Then he said, "We tried to find her. She disappeared. The last time the cameras picked her up was at the train station. Then it was empty. We thought she'd left. Or he didn't finish. I finished for him. Or gone, like Michael." He didn't say anything. That night I couldn't sleep for a long time. Ellie came home late. Said she was at a friend's house. Brought me a burrito. I nodded, kissed her on the forehead, and went into the bathroom. Locked myself in. Sat on the edge of the tub. I was scared. Not because she could be a killer. It was because I didn't know who she was. The next day, I opened her wallet. I was disgusted. I would never do that, but, there was a card. A library card. Name, Lena Wells. I closed my eyes. It was everything. Confirmation. And then I found the video. We'd installed a camera in the basement a long time ago just for security. I tapped into the archive, checked the footage. No purpose, just, I don't know. Instinct. And then 3 nights ago. 3:17 a.m. Ellie's standing in the basement. In front of a box of Michael's stuff. She's not doing anything. She just stands there. About 10 minutes. Doesn't move. She's looking at an old baseball cap, a notebook, a watch. I've rewatched the tape 3 times. What was she looking for? What was she remembering? Why didn't she say anything? I decided that's it. I'm going to the station. I tell them everything. But when I got home, she was gone. Nothing. Closet was empty. The nightstand was empty. Even the framed pictures were gone. It's like she never existed. In the kitchen, just a mug. With the rest of the coffee. Mom came in at that moment. She saw me. Saw the emptiness around me. Where's Ellie? I don't know. Did she leave? I think so. Why? I wanted to lie. I wanted to say something neutral. But I couldn't. Because she knew Michael. She was with him. Mom went pale. What? She's Lena. The one he was dating. The one who disappeared in front of him. Mom sat down. I trusted her. Her voice broke. When she looked at his picture, she wasn't faking it. I could feel that she was in pain. I thought it was because she was sympathetic. And it turned out to be. I sat next to her. She didn't come here by accident, Mom. She came to be near someone. Maybe him. Maybe someone who looked like him. We were silent for a long time. I looked at the picture of me and Ellie. We're smiling. Looking at each other like we're just getting started. But in reality, it's all long past. I'd be lying if I said I slept that night. I just sat on the floor, my back against the couch, holding her purse. It was small, red, with frayed edges. And inside was a card with the name Lena Wells on it. Not Ellie. Not the one I was building something real with. The one that disappeared with Michael. My hands were shaking. Not from fear. It was resentment. It was the thick, viscous emptiness that comes when you realize everything you knew was a screen. Your life was written for you. You were chosen for the part, and not even given a text. I got up and went to the basement. There was an old drawer where my mom kept Michael's things. We rarely looked in there, it hurt too much. But lately I'd noticed it open. I thought it was Mom. Turns out it wasn't. I reviewed the footage from the camera I'd installed just in case the house started losing little things. And it's 2:43 a.m. Ellie, in the dark, standing by that drawer. Just standing there. For a long time. Almost 10 minutes. Not a sound. No movement. Then she touches one of Michael's sweaters with her fingers. Holds it close. And walks away. She didn't take anything. No digging. Just stood there. Like she was looking for a part of herself. Or saying goodbye. I couldn't understand it. And at the same time, everything inside me was screaming that I had to do something. The next morning, I went to the police station. Detective James greeted me without surprise. He seemed expectant. I showed him the card, the photos, the video from the camera. He silently wrote down everything he needed and said, "This could be a shift in the case. Or just a coincidence. But you did the right thing." I nodded. But inside, everything was boiling. I felt no relief. Only anxiety. When I got home, she was gone. No note, no explanation. Just the empty coat rack, the spread blanket on the bed, and that mug labeled, "Today's a good day," that she always drank coffee out of. Empty. Like me. It took Mom a long time to come to her senses. She held on when Michael disappeared. But now. It was the first time I saw her hands shake when she spoke. I believed her, Josh. I felt like she was, like she was pulling from somewhere. From him. I thought maybe it was a sign. That he's alive. That he's out there somewhere. And now it's empty again. I couldn't answer her. Because I felt the same way. Ellie, Lena, whoever she was really connected to Michael. She was his shadow, his extension, his mirror. And she came to me. Why? To live his life again. To forget. To hide. 2 days later, I got a call from a detective. Said she withdrew money from an account in another state. Then she disappeared again. Without a trace. No license plate, no car, no camera. I went through her stuff like a museum. Looking for anything. Leftover scent on the pillow. A photo. A hairpin. The only thing I found was a book. The Three Comrades, by Remark. The bookmark is in the scene where the hero says, "A man doesn't have to be alive to be present in your life." It was as if she had left me a message. That evening I opened an old box of Michael's things. Letters. Notes. In one, a drawing. A woman's hand. On her finger, a ring. Signed, L. I don't know if I've seen it before. Or if I just didn't pay attention. Now it was all falling into place. She was his. She was the one he was probably running from. Or the one he was going to disappear with. I stood in front of the mirror. For a long time. And suddenly I saw his features in me. The eyes. The gestures. I always thought we were different. But now. I understood why she came to me. I was similar. So much so that I could replace her. I felt sick. That night, I found a letter in the mailbox. Unstamped. Pen on paper. Her handwriting. You want to know the truth? The truth is that I didn't know who I loved. Him or you. You were lighter. Softer. Quieter. But when you looked at me, I felt he was somewhere near. I wanted to disappear with him, but he disappeared without me. And you were there. And I stayed. I'm sorry. I'm not a killer. But I lost myself with him. You gave me a chance to be somebody. But I chose to disappear again. You have a right to hate. But if you ever remember, don't remember me with pain. I did love you. Just a little. I put the letter in the drawer. I didn't burn it. I didn't tear it up. I let it stay. As a reminder that sometimes you find out the truth too late. When it's already a part of you. When you can't live your life the way you used to. It's been a week. I haven't slept. Didn't eat properly. Just went round and round, work, home, thoughts. Ellie disappeared like she never existed. The police found nothing. No witnesses. No cameras. No footprints. Sometimes I thought it was all a hallucination. That she never showed up. That I just made her up. I made it up because I was tired of being alone. Because Michael had disappeared, and without realizing it, I'd created his shadow, in the form of someone who supposedly knew how to love. But it was real. Too real. Too painful to be an illusion. I hid the letter under my pillow. Every time I read it, new meanings were revealed. New scars. The word people was scrawled crooked, like she was in a hurry. And, you gave me a chance, was underlined twice. I didn't know why. I didn't know if she wanted me to forgive her. Or if she wanted me to finally let go. On the 8th day, I went to Michael's room. Mom asked me not to come in, she was in pain. But I couldn't keep it all inside anymore. I sat on his bed, opened the old notebook where he'd written down quotes. On the first page was the sentence, "People disappear not because they're not wanted. It's because they don't want to be found." I felt everything inside collapse. Michael wasn't missing. He had run away. Gone. From us. From his family. From a life where he had to be somebody. And Ellie, she was probably the only one who really knew him. In a box of his things, I found another picture. Yellowed, crumpled. The two of them against the woods. Michael and Lena. She's still with short hair, no makeup, wearing his oversized sweatshirt. But there's a light in her eyes. She was holding his hand, as if she was afraid he'd disappear if she let go. Or vice versa, as if she wanted to hold on to him until it was too late. Signed on the back. Just us. No one else. I flipped the photo back over. Stared at it for a long time. Then I slipped it into my pocket. I didn't know what to do with this information. Who would want it? Me? My parents? I went outside, walked to the river, sat down on the same bench where Ellie and I had once sat eating ice cream. She said, "You listen to me like you want to understand me, not judge me. That's rare." Now I wondered, was she saying that to me, or to herself? 2 weeks later, I received another letter. Inside was a flash drive. No writing. No signature. Just a silver flash drive and a note. "If you want to know, here." I hesitated for a long time. Then I put it in my laptop. One file. Video. It's dark. Camera shakes. Then it stabilizes. And Ellie appears in the frame. Or Lena. She's sitting on the floor, wearing Michael's sweatshirt. Her hair is loose. Her eyes are red. If you're watching this, it means I'm gone. But not because I'm a liar. It's because I couldn't stay. I didn't come to you to lie. I came because you were my last anchor. I loved Michael. But he disappeared inside of me long before he disappeared physically. You were different. Lighter. More reliable. I didn't want to repeat the past. But at some point, I realized I wasn't living with you, but with his shadow in you. And then I realized I don't feel love anymore. I feel guilt. And you don't live with guilt. You just hide. I don't want to hide anymore. I'm sorry. I really wanted to be new. But I'm just Lena. A woman who's loved a disappeared man for too long. The video cut off. The silence afterward was absolute. I yanked the flash drive out, stuck it in a drawer. Then I opened it again. Put the letter next to it. Then the photo. Then I closed it. Not locked. Just closed. Some answers aren't meant to be lived with. It's not to argue with them anymore. That evening, I sat in the kitchen with my mom. She was baking a cake. Out of habit, not celebration. We didn't talk about Ellie. We didn't talk about Michael. Just sitting there. Suddenly she said. You still have his voice in you. Who? Michael. You sound like him. When you're quiet. I grinned. You think he's alive? She looked at me. Not sadly. Not with pain. Just with acceptance. It doesn't matter. He's inside of us. Which means he's alive. Later, in his room, I sat down at the desk. I took an old pen. And on a blank piece of paper, I wrote. Michael. I don't know where you are. But now I know who you were. You're not a hero. You're not a monster. You were just a tired man. And I'm just a brother who tried to love someone he barely knew. I folded the sheet. And left it on the windowsill. Let the wind decide what to do with it. Sometimes I wonder if she'll come back. And then I realize she's not coming back. But a part of her remains. In the letters. In the recordings. In the way I look at people now, not with trust, but with attention. Not with love at once, but with caution. Sometimes love is not a light. It's just a shadow left by someone you can no longer embrace.